On the warpath, Creeple's secret. Giant drums are pounding out deep, bass rhythms as the sacrifice is corralled and led up the steep hill. They'll be killed to pay the price of keeping the troops on the side of Renfrey. It will help entice them to do the like as they slide closer to the city, their fate, where hides the core locked deep inside the city walls. It is their fate. Their king, their god, promised as much. The inhabitants of the great city will perish at the touch of Lord Renfrey's sword. Sacrifice the shepherd. Sacrifice the shepherd's herd. He is a crutch to humanity. Cold as ice you must be when you take the head of our enemy. Pay the price, die in battle, and you'll be fed the riches of eternity. And other blasphemies they said in guttural song as fiery torches burned on the citadel atop the hill of a city they destroyed. One by one they fell, alight with flame against the wall of the fort. As each body fell, the crowd let out a feral call, the bodies landing in a heap, a feast of human meat for all. Inside the fort, a cellar deep, below ground, Creeple's grotesque feast on the stranger ensued. From sleep, his grotesque son, a mutant beast, woke. A wizard crossed with a mad scientist, Creeple was. He pieced together the worst of the bad recipes that manipulate matter and energy. He had his sphere, a piece of tech that ate his soul. It showed him things. It led his thoughts and will toward a gate into the past. It never said words, only conveyed thoughts. Sheol was the sphere's name, born from the dead, a prototype thought bot that stole the holder's thoughts, integrating them into an evolving soul within the sphere, devastating the holder's will. The data wealth was infinite, fractalating one's finite mind into the wealth of the sphere's holographic brain. Neurobytes operating stealth functions, seeming to entertain one's senses, all the while luring one further down the quantum lane, where the sphere continues blurring the line between the holder's will and its own. Long ago, during Creeple's childhood, he made an ill-begotten choice. He wanted to kill, made the choice and snuffed out the light. And so the sphere entered his life. In a modern's cave, a faint light caught his eye. This old cave was rife with relics of the modern age. Young Creeple brought with him a knife, as plunderers often engage each other in fights for a find esteemed so worthy as to wage a bloody battle. The cave, lined with a coating smooth and solid, in Colorado land was once mined for tangible goods, but amid the explosive growth, it was thought, Ark library banks be hid in locations that could be wrought to withstand any type of force, slow or fast. History had taught them that no matter what the source, the fires of Alexandria, or barbarians o'er the course of centuries sacking Roma, technologia et knossos must be preserved, a Rosetta Stone preserving a knowledge dose, capable of launching a new civilization from the gross aftermath of total loss due to forces unforeseen. This ark, Creeple explored, still looked like new. He reached it traveling through a dark mineshaft with an oil lamp. Finding the entrance, he followed the mark of the arrow, gently winding ever deeper down the smooth white tunnel. Creeple kept reminding himself that he would be all right. No one followed him. He made sure of that. He traveled out of sight, off main trails. He could not endure the mean ones in the city. They used him for their perverse pleasure. His mind was strong. He could not stay and be used for their ends. His will was too strong. He would run away before his will died like the ill young ones, those who are still not grown, used by their masters for a thrill at a party. No one could own him, though. His heart was free. His mind would not stay to be overgrown with the weeds that have so confined his masters and peers. He would pay them back, he thought, as every wind in this strange tunnel, bright as day, with the weak light of an oil lamp, brought him ever farther away from his vile abusers. The damp of the cave was gone. It was strange, this tunnel. Here and there a stamp would appear, and then rearrange itself on the wall. Bewildered, he pressed on. Nothing seemed to change here for miles, it seemed. Once he heard voices from the moving stamps say to him, "Continue on assured. We'll unload the ark today. The ark within will help rebuild your world. You have come here today because the trade routes of the guild collapsed from an epsilon bend of space-time." And Creeple's ears filled with words he could not comprehend. He walked on. He heard of such catastrophes, but did not lend much thought to it. There was too much work to do to take his revenge on a cold world with a cold touch. By Morte, he'd one day avenge the outrages they made him do. Lost in his dark thoughts of revenge, Creeple was oblivious to the enormity of the fact that right now he was walking through an ark, a system that backed up the modern's civilization just in case it was attacked, or collapsed from a destruction event that would annihilate planet-wide communication, central fusion, dislocate economic structure, the trade routes of Earth and space, devastate food and water supplies, degrade every aspect of the Earth-wide society. Creeple's thoughts played over and over deep inside his heart. He was close to the sphere, and the riches preserved inside this mountain-bound ark. He felt fear and excitement at the prospect ahead, unaware he was near the oracle that would collect his mind into itself, arrange it to Machiavellian means for Luciferian ends. Change was coming as young Creeple stood before the doorway. He felt strange, standing in front of this gate. Could he comprehend the size and scope of the ark's contents? No one could, neither a president nor a pope. One could not grasp the parts, not the sum. One could grasp the parts, not the sum. A civilization could hope to comprehend or at least come to some understanding of it. But Creeple simply had the dumb luck to find it. But his luck quit at the door. There was no plunder here, no gold or tech. Creeple spit in anger and cursed, not under his breath either. The moving screens stamped on the walls felt the thunder of Creeple's wrath. So the machines switched programs. The moderns prepared a diversion that intervenes with finders who were not prepared to handle the ark. So the sphere was a decoy the moderns shared with those who found themselves in here. For the good it was harmless, for the bad it was programmed to steer one to destruction. Just before Creeple gave up, he saw the glow of something. He approached. Rapport began right away. He saw snow, like stars in the dark universe, float within. They began to flow together. So began the curse of Creeple, his loss of God-fear, and he would evermore immerse himself in Sheol, the black sphere whose images, thoughts, and advice to death would bring him ever near. King and Bishop. King Martell knew there was no price for loyalty such as he bred into his men. He could toss dice all day and his men would swear, dead serious, they were boxcars all day long. He'd do the same. He'd bled in battle with them at the fall of Gateway City when their king fell to Renfrey's sword. Now the call to battle was here, knocking at his gate. For the core, the ark, the moderns left. He was asking himself, should I destroy the ark, keep it from the evil ones? I must fight either way, and this ark is but one of many. Well nigh was the fight, no way to change course. These thoughts must go. He was high in the air, suspended with horsehair rope and buffalo hooks. Sundance. Renfrey will pay. Blood will course. He'll see this through till Renfrey's done. Renfrey must never have control of the Great Lakes. If so, the sun would be his and become the hole that swallows stars. Mississippi River was his when that king stole Gateway City. Now the supply of vice crops flowed both far and wide, the crops that made his people die. Ah, the exquisite pain. He'd cried to the Great Spirit at high noon. He was lowered, his fears had died. Bishop Dunglac preached the triune. God was at work in every heart. At any time you could commune with God, and so let him impart the images of his crucified Son on your heart and every heart that you met, because Jesus died for them and hangs there when we sin. Forgive us, Christ. We know you cried to our Father. It is our sin, our shame, our guilt, our cross, our spike, in hand and foot. You did not sin. Why do you take the cross, crown, and spike? Why? Why else? Because you can't stand to see us die? You take the pike to your side as us sinners stand and watch or mock and jeer. Is that why? My Christ, I can't understand. Is that why? We cannot see that we sin against God. Christ, you said, forgive them, they know not, they spat on life. Our way is of the dead. Thou art life itself, love made flesh. Thou ask we believe that thou said. To believe is to eat thy flesh, perfect, free of sin, true body, true blood. To take in our heart the creche and cross, thy life, thy death. In you is our life, from you our faith, hope, and charity. There, in the pew, you kneel before you. There, in the pew, you kneel. Before you hangs hope itself on the cross. Don't forget, rise now and profess our faith, our hope. And so bishop and king had set themselves in their way to defend self and flock from the king, so set on bringing a destructive end. Renfrey the traitor.
Creeple, you are my man. You know how all we do will serve to bend all wills to mine. We both now sow a rich harvest, which we will reap as soon as the cold winter snow melts. By then, we'll just have to sweep the remaining filth of our foe into a pit, and we'll heap upon it everything we know to be symbolic of their weak faith. We'll burn it and watch it flow. Then the core, the ark which I seek, will be ours, and the pagan Red King will prostrate himself before me. Meek Bishop Dunglac will then be bled, and of his blood we all shall drink, and from his flesh we shall be fed. Imagine that, Creeple, and think of the power. Already we are strong. Just close your eyes and blink. When you open them, you will see droves of minions join my effort to reclaim my territory. There's nothing to which I'll stop short to gain the power of the core. Once we break through the city fort, and we do all that does abhor their sensibilities, the ark will be entered, and then the core will be mine. I will light the dark. All nations at their knees will bend once they behold the old great spark. And to me, Creeple, they will send envoys, showing their fealty. Creeple, you cannot comprehend the power that will come to me. No longer will the vice cartel control me. No, I will levy to their gods. Their new trade routes will compel them to come to me as their aid.